In 1953, a surgeon removed both of Henry Molaison's hippocampi, and neuroscientists still cannot account for why what happened next was kept out of every classroom that followed. Molaison lost the ability to form new memories entirely, but the detail they never put in textbooks is this: he kept learning skills, patterns, reflexes, every single day, and he never once knew it was happening. William Beecher Scoville was a Hartford neurosurgeon. He operated on a 27-year-old epileptic patient in August of 1953, removing roughly 2/3 of the hippocampus from both hemispheres. The seizures stopped. What happened next redrew the map of human memory permanently. Molaison, known only as HM until his death in 2008, couldn't recognize nurses he'd spoken to every day for years, couldn't remember eating lunch 20 minutes after finishing it. His short-term memory had a window of roughly 90 seconds. When it closed, everything inside vanished. Researchers flew in from around the world. 40 years of published papers followed. What they published was extraordinary. What they didn't emphasize was stranger. Every morning, a researcher named Brenda Milner placed a mirror in front of HM and asked him to trace a 5-pointed star by watching his reflection. It's harder than it sounds. Your hand wants to move right when the mirror shows left. The first session was clumsy, the second less so. By day 5, his accuracy had improved measurably, consistently across every metric. He was learning. Procedural memory, the kind that teaches your hands to type or your feet to brake, that was completely intact, which means the hippocampus isn't where memory lives. It's where memory is selected, approved, stamped as real. HM could acquire skills he would never remember learning. He was being shaped by experiences his mind refused to acknowledge. That distinction between knowing and remembering is one neuroscience took decades to fully confront. The clean explanation became standard by the 1970s. The hippocampus converts short-term memory into long-term memory. That's the line in every textbook, every introductory psychology course, every high school biology module that mentions it at all. Memory comes in, hippocampus processes it, memory routes to the cortex for long-term storage. Simple, modular, neat. The brain as a filing cabinet. This was the model taught to 2 generations of students. It's probably what you learned if you learned anything about it at all. Here's what makes that impossible. In 2005, researchers Eleanor Maguire and Christopher Frith asked participants to imagine a future scene, something they'd never witnessed, and scan their brains in real time. The hippocampus lit up, not the cortex. The structure that supposedly just converts and routes was activating on events that hadn't happened, for scenes that didn't exist. Further research confirmed it. Patients with hippocampal damage couldn't just recall the past poorly. They couldn't imagine the future at all. They described blank fields, empty space. The hippocampus isn't a converter, it's a world builder. It assembles reality, past and future both, out of fragments. And every time you remember something, it rebuilds from the ground up. It doesn't retrieve, it reconstructs. And every reconstruction changes the original. This is what wasn't taught. The neuroscientific term is reconsolidation. When a memory is accessed, it enters a chemically unstable state and reforms around whatever context surrounds that moment of recall. Your mood shapes it. The question you were just asked shapes it. Elizabeth Loftus demonstrated this with precision across 4 decades of research. She could implant memories of events that never occurred, car crashes, childhood injuries, into subjects who recalled those events with absolute certainty. Complete confidence, emotional detail. She could alter what eyewitnesses remembered seeing by changing a single word in the question asked afterward. Smashed instead of hit, and the witness recalled broken glass that wasn't in the footage. Courts relied on eyewitness testimony as the gold standard of human memory for most of the 20th century. Prosecutors won cases on it. People went to prison on the certainty of a memory the hippocampus had quietly rebuilt from the inside. The FBI's own guidelines on eyewitness identification weren't reformed until 2017, 64 years after HM's surgery, after the research had been sitting in the published literature the whole time. The standard answer for the delay is institutional inertia. Science moves slowly. Legal reform moves slower. but another answer has to do with incentive. If memory is a reconstruction that degrades with each recall, that shifts under the pressure of a police interview, that changes when the same question gets asked 3 different ways, then the entire architecture of criminal justice resting on witness statements starts to buckle, and the implications extend further than courtrooms, into every system that asks you to trust your own experience, your sense of who you are, the continuous story you tell yourself about what happened and why. Nobody can tell you which version of your past is the one that actually occurred. Every retrieval changes the original. The architecture of your identity has been under quiet revision this entire time. And the strangest part isn't that this wasn't taught to you. It's that you've been doing the revising yourself, without knowing, every single time you looked back.